Welcome to video number 6 of 10. We are going to be uploading or basically creating a whole new user. The user will have a name and an image, a picture. We are at the moment, let me show you the video right here. Video number 6, we're going to post the info for the user. So let's go to VS Code and we are going to go to the route called create user. That's the one. All right, all this has been done before, and now we're going to go to Postman and we are going to check the post user route in which we are going to point to localhost. Let's just take the route from any other route, in this case the get user route, and let's put it in the post route. This is going to be a post because we're going to be passing the name and the image of the user. So we are going to point to the route that's called, let's check it here, create user.php. Create user.php. When we check it, we can say that the user has been created. In reality, the user has not been created. That was just hard-coded and it was coming from here. So what we need to know is that we need to have the name and the image of the user. So in Postman, we're going to pass those two values. In this case, since this is a post request, you can see it here, post. You can see it there, post. We are going to pass in the body of the request, we are going to select form data. And this is the exact same thing as if you had a form in an HTML page. So you can have input boxes and then you can have the image file upload that you need. So over here we're going to create a key called name, and the name will be A. And over here we can select, does it have to be text or file? And we're going to select file because we want to upload the picture of this user. And then we're going to call the variable picture. We're going to select a file. We can select whatever file we want. In this case I have these two images. I'm going to select male or female, it doesn't really matter. And that's the values we're going to pass to the backend. I'm going to click send now. And then we still have the user created, which has not been created. So let's go back to VS Code and we are going to validate the name because we need to start validation. So I'm going to put here comment validate the name, and we're going to start validating if the variable name has been passed. So if we check the get user, for example, field, we have validation here. We check if the ID has been set. So this is also something that we need. We need to check if the name has been set. So let's do that. If not is set, and in here we're going to get the variable. Before we were getting the variables from get, now we need to get the variables from post, because we're posting data, and the variable is actually called name. If you have called this name X, then over here you should call it name X, but we just call it name. So if the variable has not been set, we want to pass an error message back to the API. And if we look at error messages in the get user, for example, you can take any route that we have done in the previous videos. We have this function that actually allowed us to send the error message back to the API that's calling this route. So I just copy this and we are going to paste it right underneath the create user. That is what we need. Look at this video if you want explanation for it. If the name is not set, we're going to send the error and we're going to display a message saying that the name is missing, and we're going to pass the line number as well. So let's do it like so. Let's test it. We move to Postman and I'm not going to pass the name. Forget about also the picture. I'm not passing any of these values. When you untick them, they're not being passed. So we have the message saying that the name is missing. We continue with the validation. Now we're going to check if the name has at least, let's say, 2 characters. So we're going to call the strlen function and we're going to pass the post name. If the name is less than 2 characters, we're going to send an error back, and the error will say name min 2 characters, and we're going to pass the second argument, which will be the line number. Let's write characters. You have space to see the whole thing. We save it. We move back to Postman. Now I will pass a name that only contains 1 character. The name has to be min 2 characters, correct. I'm going to do 2 characters now. And then the user has been created. We also need to duplicate this line, and we need to check if the name is actually above, greater than, and I'm going to be doing 5 characters just to keep it really simple to test. And then we're going to display the message saying that the name max 5 characters. Let's test this in Postman. This is correct. I'm going to say that the name is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's correct. And then we send the 6th character, and then we get the display saying that the name has to be max 5 characters. So this is enough to validate the name. Now we need to concentrate in validating the image, the picture. Validate the picture. This will happen in several steps. I will walk you through the whole thing so you can understand all of it. So let's start validating the image. So we have to, first of all, always check if the image is set. Same with the name, same with email, and same with any other variable, the exact same thing. So now we're going to check if the file that you have been passing via Postman, this file here, that one, the one that we call picture. In PHP you have get, we have used it, we have used post, and now we're going to use a global variable called files. This is actually an associative array, and these files will get you the file name. In this case, we call it picture, and therefore this has to be the exact same name over here. So we say if the picture has not been passed, we're going to send an error back to the user, back to the API that's calling this route, and we're going to just write picture missing, and we also display the line number. Let's test it one line at a time. So I will not pass the image. So the name has to be 5 characters. All right, let's play with AA. And now we have picture missing. I will pass the picture, and the user has been created. But that's not enough for the validation. When you validate an image, the first thing you do is you check if the image has been passed, and then you actually need to take it one step ahead, and you need to do a lot of different validation things with the image. I will show you all of it. The first thing we need to know is what this contains. So I'm going to var dump, and then I will just exit. You don't really need this exit. But I'm going to var dump this associative array containing the picture. I will save it. We move to Postman, and this is what we have inside that variable. I'm going to try to scroll this down like so. Okay, I'm going to copy all these, and that's the data fields that we have in this variable, and I'm going to display it here in a comment. Let me walk you through this. So the picture variable has a name, which is mail.png. That's because I selected that from Postman. That's the name of it, mail.png. It has a type, which is a PNG image. It has a temporal name, which is located in this path in my computer. In your computer, it could be different, and obviously this is going to be different. And the only thing that the Apache server is doing is just storing this image in this temporal folder. So if you want to save it to keep it, you will have to move it, and I will do that in the next minutes. So this is just the temporal place for the image, and here we have the size, which is in bytes. I can see that. So that will be about, let's do 18 kilobytes. About. You need to divide this by 1024 if you want to get the kilobytes. So these are the fields that we need. So I'm going to delete this. I don't need the position. I don't need the error. We don't need this, that. The type we will keep. We will keep the name so you guys remember it. And this is a good thing to do whenever you're playing with some data that you may forget. Copy paste the output of it, and then you will know what you can get out of the key value pairs. So this is the key, that's the value. This is the key, we don't need this, double quotes. It doesn't really matter, it's just a comment, and that will be the value, that will be for the type. It's interesting to have the temporal name, and that will be located inside this path. And we also have the key called size, and the size is this size. I will put a comment here so I know that's byte. So this is what this variable here contains. So now I can continue, and the first thing we need to do is when we validate an image, you have to validate the size. You also have to validate the extension of this picture. So let's get ahead and create an extension variable, and this is a PHP function called pathInfo. And this function takes the picture that we are playing with, in this case is picture name, and then the second argument will be the pathInfo extension. You can get all this from the PHP documentation page. So over here we're going to just echo the extension to see if we fetch the correct extension. We don't need this var dump anymore. We save, and then we go to Postman. And we get this, it says expects one argument to be a string, array given. That's correct because I pass here the array. Let's check it. Over here, I am passing this array, and I actually need to pass the name of the image. So to do that, let's see, picture name, yeah. I will need to pass the name of the image, so this will be files picture, and then we look up here the name. I'm going to pass the key name. Let's test it. We get extension PNG. So this is how I got this out. You guys remember why I did this name now, so you know that out of the image, get the name, which is that, and extract the extension, which is that. That's why we get the PNG. So I will put here comment PNG, so I remember that that's the extension. We no longer need the extension, so I can just delete it, and the exit will be deleted. When we continue validating, we need to check which extensions are we going to allow in this system. So we'll create a variable called allowed extensions. And over here, we just throw an array with the allowed extensions. I will say that PNG is allowed. We will say that JPG is allowed. Let's also allow GIF images, and then you can put here also the JPG if you want it, and then you can continue here with whatever image you want allowed in the system. For now, those are the extensions that I will allow in this system. Then we have to check if this extension is inside any of those extensions here. To do that, we have a variable, a function called inArray. But we have to say if not in array, because we're going to do this defensive code. And then we say if this extension is not in this array, so we're going to throw an error message back to the user, in which we say that, let's say here that the picture must be, and here you could copy all this and paste it in here, so you get the list of images. But it would be nice if you can just do this dynamic in a way that if you delete this image extension, that image extension, then this will dynamically show which extensions are allowed. So we'll show you how to do that. I will just take the last image extension away from now. So I will say that the picture must be, and then we're going to play with the implode function from PHP. We're going to say that we want to implode and do a comma. That means that with this implode, we're going to take PNG, follow with a comma, follow with a space, JPEG, JPG, follow with a comma, followed by the space, and then we will take the GIF extension, followed with a comma, followed with a space. So we're going to implode that, which belongs to the allowed array, allowed extensions array. So let's give it a test now. I will save. I will take the PNG away actually. PNG is not allowed anymore. Let's test it. Picture must be JPG GIF. You see the implode function happening here. I'm going to allow a new extension. I will say that this system also allows JPEG. It automatically creates this for us, right? Now I will manually allow PNG now. We save, we test. So the user has been created. So this was the validation for the extension of the image. Now we also need to validate the size. Let's put a comment here. Validate extension. We are going to validate the size. That's also very important. So we are going to say if, and then over here we're going to take the image size. So we take the file's picture. That's the variable that contains our picture, our image. And then if you guys recall this size key that will give us the size, so we'll point to the size key here. If the size is less than, let's say that if it's less than 10,000 bytes, that will be the dot in there. You don't need to do the dot. I just let you know that it will be there. So we are going to send an error message back to the user, and the message will just say the picture is too small. And the second argument will be the line number. We're going to do the opposite. So we say if the picture file size is greater than, and we're going to say 20 kilobytes. Then we're going to say the picture is too large. We save it. We're going to test it here. And right now this image is in between 10,000 and 20,000 kilobytes. So we just shrink the size of it. So actually I'm going to enlarge it. I'm going to say if the image is less than 50,000, or if the image is greater than 100,000, this male image is probably about 20 kilobytes. So it should give me this message. The picture is too small. So I'm going to go to the opposite side. I'm going to say that if the image is less than 1,000, and if it's greater than 5,000, I will validate those ranges there. Now the picture is too large. As I told you, this picture here is probably 20 kilobytes. So that's why I'm displaying these error messages. So now I will, let's see where the image is located for the sake of curiosity. Here, let's see if I can look at the properties of the image. It's 18.3 kilobytes. And the size on the disk, okay, that was a lucky hit, 20 kilobytes. I didn't really know that, so I just mentioned it and it happened to be that size. But you get the idea of validating the image size. So once we have validated the size, we need to create the following: a unique name for the image. When any user uploads an image, you can see that the image name is mail.png. So if you save mail.png in the hard drive, imagine that another user uploads the exact same image with the exact same name, or maybe a different image, but the name is the exact same name. Then you will have a conflict here because you cannot have two images with the same name. Therefore, we need to create a unique image for a unique name for the image. So let's do that. Let's create a unique name for it. And to do that, we're going to play with extension because we need the extension of the image. And I would like to generate something like this. Imagine something like that, .png. So this I already have. The dot will be just a concatenation, and this is what we need to build. So let's create that. I'm going to create a variable called unique. Let's call it picture name And this will be a bin to hex, that's a PHP function, in which I'm going to create some auto completion, so random bytes, and I will do 16 here. You can do any number you want in that. You can also do 32. I will do 16, so this will give me a 32 long, that will be a character plus digit combination. Let me show you what I get out of that. So I'm going to just echo the unique picture name. We save it, and actually there's a typo, you can see that, bin to hex. Let's try this. Okay, picture too large. I need to first of all fix the sizes. I will say that it has to be between 10,000 and 50,000. And this here is the bin to hex that we get. You can see numbers and some letters there. So that's what I want to use to generate my image name. So it will be all these followed by the .png. So let's create the image name. Let's finish it. So the unique picture name, I will do it in the next line now, is going to be the exact same thing that we have. So plus equals, and then I'm going to, I am in PHP, so that will be the concatenation dot equals. I'm going to combine it with the dot, and then I'm going to combine it with the extension. Where's my extension? Yeah, extension. So let's echo again the unique picture name. We save it and then we test it. So this here, guys, is going to be the unique picture name. I will exit now because I don't want to confuse you. That's a unique picture name. And then I will resend. You can see it changes and it changes again. So that is what we need for the picture name. So once we have done all these, we're ready to save this in the database. And if the database has saved the data successfully, we are going to go ahead and move the image to the respective folder. So save data in the DB. And if everything works okay, move the TMP image to the final folder. And the TMP image that I'm talking about is this image that is temporarily stored in our hard drive. So we need to move it to our destination folder. This will be deleted eventually by Apache, but if we move it, then we are in the safe side because we have our fixed image in the hard drive. So let's do that. First of all, we need to connect to the database now because we have successfully done the validation. We're going to require once, and this we have done before. I will just do it again. We're going to point to the directory, and over here we're going to go to the protected folder. Just for you guys to remember it, the protected folder contains this file, the database file, and therefore I'm going inside the protected folder. So once I'm in the protected folder, I will call database.php. We save it, and I do not continue actually coding because I can see that I already had that there. I forgot about it. I will just delete that. And you know what? I will do the opposite. I will just delete that then, because I already have this done. We save it, and right away we test. All right, the user has been created. In reality, no user has been created. And now we're going to insert the data with a try catch. Same as the previous videos, where we have a PDO exception in the catch, right? So we need to write PDO exception. Sorry for the typo there, guys. Exception. And the exception will be the EX. And over here, if we get an exception, we are going to send back an error. Cannot create user. That will do in this line number. So let's go inside the try so we can create a insert statement. And by the way, let me see if I have PHP open here. PHP my admin, no. Localhost PHP my admin. My database is running, I know that. And here we have the databases. Let's go to the company database that we had before. We created that, and then we have the users here. Over here inside the users table, I'm going to create a SQL command in which I can insert, and this will be the insert command. We don't need this, we don't need that. We don't really need this. That's just telling us that the first value is the ID, that will be this value. The second value is the name, that will be that value, and the third value is that value. But we don't need this, so we just delete it. And then the values that I will insert here, just for testing it, I will say null. That will be for the ID because that's a serial data type. The image name, the user's name will be AA. And then the image name is these random letters that we got with .png. So let's save it. That's working fine. So this command is the one that we need to use. I copy that. I can just browse also if I want it. I have the image inserted there. Maybe you have other data from the previous videos, but this is working for me, so that's fine. So over here, I will just put a comment. This is the command that works. So now that I go inside the try, I'm going to create a query, and this will be pointing to the database. I will tell it to prepare a statement, and the statement will be what I just copy and pasted here. I will do that. And this I will show you one line, insert into users these values. Let me do it like so. All right, so this is looking quite good. Null will stay as null. We don't need to change it. This will be the name. So we'll create a placeholder for the name, and this will be the picture path. Let's call it picture name. That's the placeholder for the picture name. Once we have that, we're going to create the bind value property here, bind value. And we're going to bind the value name. That's the image name. Sorry, that's the user's name. This will be the name of the user. And we had that inside the variable called host name. I take that variable and then I just paste it right in there. I just bind it the user's name. Now let's bind the next placeholder, which will be the picture name. And over here we need to store actually the name of the image, this unique random name, which is that one. So I copy and then I paste it. Once we have binded that correctly, we're going to execute the query. We say execute, query execute. So that's running the query. And if you think ahead, imagine that this is connected and it will be connected to the front end. So somehow the database will generate a unique ID for this inserted user. This ID that we will get here, this 5. The front end part doesn't know about this ID, so we will need to send this ID back to the front end at some point. So the front end can delete this user or update the user's data. Therefore, I need to get that ID. So we create a variable called user ID, and this will be coming from the database. It doesn't come from the query because the query doesn't really know about the ID, but the database knows about the last insert ID. This will give us, in this case, number 6, and eventually if you insert a new user, number 7, and so on. If you have 1,000,000 users, then you will have a huge ID here. So this is the ID that we need to pass back to the front end. So this has saved the image in the database, but it has not saved the image in our images folder, which we should create somewhere here. So let's do that. Let's create here in the back end, just so you know what I have, a new folder. I will call this pictures. You can call this whatever you want. You can call this images if you want it. I just call it pictures there. Let me just save this. And what I need to do is I need to move the temporal image or picture to the final destination, which will be this folder called pictures. So let's do that. Everything has run correctly. We inserted the data in the database. If this failed, it will automatically take us to the cache. So this line that I will add now here will never run. So to save the image inside the folder, we actually need to move it. So we're going to create here a variable called destination folder, and this is going to be inside the directory that, and this is going to be a little bit tricky because I am pointing to this file here, the create user. I need to go up to the back and then down to the pictures. So from here, I need to go to the parent, which is this folder, and then inside the pictures folder. So to do that, I will say that I'm going to go up to the back folder, which is that one, and then inside the pictures folder. So I will do that. So this will be, and remember the forward slash, because after the forward slash, when we save it, we will put that weird name in there like so. I will keep the forward slash in there. So this will be the destination folder, and I will create a new variable called final path, which will be the destination folder followed by the unique image ID, the name of the image. Once we have done this final path, we can move it. So PHP has a function called move uploaded file. This function takes two arguments. Is actually the picture that we have. So we have the files, and then we have the picture, and inside the picture we have the temp name, TMP name. How do I know this? Well, I show you the following. Files picture is the image I uploaded, and this temp name is not called temp name. Let me check it. It's called TMP name, which is that. Is going to point to this path in my computer. So I just copy the TMP name, and then I will say that I want to point to the TMP name here. So move the picture that is located inside this temporal folder, move it to the final path. Let's save it, and finally we need to test it. So I need to also output something to the user. Everything has been saved correctly. So I will finally echo a string. Let me just copy this echo from here. Why not? Oh, this is the one I actually need. This is the final echo. That's correct. So I will echo. Took it away by mistake. Sorry, guys. Got it. Paste it. So we're going to echo status 1. The message will display user created, and you also need to show this ID to pass the final ID to the front end so the front end can manipulate it. So the ID will be something like, looks quite weird, and that has to be double quoted by the way. So it will be the weird long string like so. So I select this and then I concatenate, and I will concatenate with the unique name for the image. We don't need to pass the whole path because the path will always be the same. It will always be located inside the pictures folder. So the only thing we need to pass is the unique picture name. Nope, we don't need to pass the unique picture name, guys. We need to pass actually the ID of the image, which came from the user ID. That ID. Okay, let's test it. Let's move to Postman, and we have the name. In this case, I will do a BB. I will select a female, and I'm going to send. To send, I will do Control Enter. I have this warning: move uploaded file, back pictures, failed to open a stream, no such file or directory. Okay, let me check what I'm doing wrong here. I have files picture temp name. The destination folder is not being found. I guess that's the error. We need to check it. So let me just think about this. Destination folder, this is how I'm going to test it. I'm going to echo final path. I think this is quite good that I got this error because I was not expecting it. So after I echo the final path, I will exit. That's my final path, and this is quite not correctly. That's not what I need in the final path. Let me just rerun it. Let me do a new test here. So this didn't work out with the echo of moving to the uploaded file, files, picture, temp name to the final path. Let me check what I have in the final path. I do have the folder called pictures. I'm pointing to pictures here from this directory. All right. Let me think what I could be doing wrong. This may take quite a while, guys, but I think it's a good thing that you see how I get stuck into something that just should work. The destination folder, let's echo that. And after the echo, we just exit. I guess we get the exact same error. Let's see, bad request. Oh yeah, okay, that I broke somewhere else. This shouldn't be there. So yeah, in the create user, we just resend the data, and this is what I'm getting out. Let's check the database to see if we are actually storing the data there. You can see that I do get to the database part. I do get the picture name to be with the exact same extension as expected, but then the file is not moved to the right location. I'm going to pause the video for a second because I don't want to be debugging this with you guys, and as soon as I have the answer, I will just let you know about it. Alright guys, sorry for that. I just paused the video, I tried to debug it, I didn't want to bore you with it, and this was the mistake I did. I was going up to the directory, to the main directory, and then going inside pictures, and when I look at the explanation that I was giving you and the path, I am already here. So this and the pictures folder and the protected folder, they are at the exact same level. So I don't need actually to go up to any place. I just say from the directory I'm on, go to the pictures folder. I am in this directory, which is all these files. I am in this file. I have to go to the pictures folder. I did a test already. I'm just going to delete that. And then I'm going to run it again. So that was the bug. Let's test it. I'm going to send. It says the user has been created. I got the ID number 11. It was a female.png. So now we're going to go to VS Code. I had this image. Let's pay attention to the image. It looks like this. That's the female image. And let's look at the three last digits. 7B9. Let's go to the database. We browse. And we get 7B9. I'm going to do one more test. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to Postman. We're going to send a new user. Let's call it ABC. And now we're going to send a mail. Send. The ID is 12. Let's see what the database contains. The database contains ID 12. And the last three digits are CE7. Let's go to Postman, to VS Code. And then we get CE7. What do we have in here? We have a mail. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know the deal. Please subscribe so you can continue following this video series. Remember that I will do the exact same thing with Node.js, MongoDB, and Svelte. And in the next video, I will show you how we can update the name and how we can update the image. And then we will jump to the Svelte, the front end part of it. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon.